Okay, we're running out of time here. We want to wrap this up, so we're going to take some more. Hold on. So you can meet these gentlemen and buy their books and shake their hands and all of that. One, maybe two more, and then we're going to have to pull the plug. Let's go over here.
Great, thank you, Ray. Hey, my name is Bill, and I've got a question for Michael Shermer. And I heard that you were associated with Scientific American magazine. 1983, Scientific American magazine ran an article on sexual reproduction. And they said they didn't know how, from an evolutionary standpoint, you go from a single cell thing, reproducing without sex, to sexual reproduction, which is obviously the best way to reproduce. I think we would agree.
Most fun.
But they had no way to explain it. It was the best way of doing it, but they had no explanation. They felt, this is in the article, this is the conclusion of the article, Scientific American, we feel like we're missing something really big, but we don't know what it is. Now, I'm wondering if, since the 25 years since that article was written, if, in this, God of the gaps or evolution of the gaps, whatever, if there has been an explanation, a plausible explanation that you know of, that would account for sexual reproduction rather than non-sexual or asexual reproduction. Right.
Yeah, that's like the boring high school biology teacher who asks who invented asexual reproduction, and some smart aleck says, your wife. So, the question is actually a technical question within evolutionary biology, is what is the original origins of sexual reproduction? Why would you go from, say, a form of cloning or budding in plants to an actual mixing of genes? The reason it's something of an interesting problem is because there's a certain danger to interacting in that sort of intimate way with another individual. And I'm not just talking about STDs or something like that. I mean, way back at the beginning, there's a considerable cost invested into doing that. The answer is because it creates more variation, and more variation allows for adaptation to changing environments. That's the short answer.
Another hugely circular argument, because remember, you cannot posit the good of society. You're asking why individual adaptations would survive. The question actually could be stated more strongly. Asexual reproduction is actually very easy. One amoeba splits into two amoebas. No reason to go find a female amoeba. It's a lot of work. So the question is, why does sex evolve? Basically, the short answer is evolutionists haven't figured it out yet. If you read Richard Dawkins, who discusses this at some length, he gives you some sort of very fanciful stories. So if you say to him, for example, why is this particular animal gray in color? He says, oh, that's for survival, that's camouflage, that's so predators can't see it and eat it, so it can survive. And then you say to him, why does the peacock have this big elaborate tail? Really easy to see. Predators can jump right in and eat the peacock. And he goes, well, that's to impress women. If the peacock has a big tail, it's going to attract women who like chutzpah in peacocks. Now, my point is, this is called science. This is basically what we've got to junk the idea of a creator, because we've figured it. Look, the problem here, I think, is that Darwin has become an ideology. Evolution, I think, is right as far as it goes, but it doesn't go that far. And what you have with guys like Daniel Dennett and Dawkins, not so much Shermer, is an effort to make evolution the master key, the all-purpose explanation. For God's sake, evolution can't even account for the first cell. How is it going to account for the universe as a whole?
But how is your answer that God just did it an answer? It's not an answer. It's a non-answer.
No, if I were to posit that the Christian God did it, you could say, how would you know that? But if I were to say we have the signature of intelligence, and as human beings, whenever we see intelligence, we infer an intelligent cause. If we see an actress with her head cut off, we will ask two questions. Did she do it herself? If not, we'll presume someone or something caused that to happen. It's not unintelligent to posit a perpetrator when you see the effects of the action.
But how did God do this?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. How did God create the universe? I don't know.
Yeah,
but that an intelligent being is responsible for our intelligent universe, That seems to me
And
very logical.
I have to explain one thing. It's not simple that it's either natural selection or sexual selection. Either the males are being selected against, or the female by nature, or the females are selecting the males. Oftentimes, it's both. You get a double selection pressure. So sometimes the peacock feathers survive, sometimes those kind of colorations get selected against by natural selection. So you have to take individual cases, and sometimes both pressures are going on at the same time.